So since some time now, it is possible to run the on-premise agent in a containerized environment, in a Docker container. And in this video, I would like to explain how you can deploy the on-premise agent in a Kubernetes environment using a Helm chart. So for that, I have created a dedicated on-premise group. And inside that on-premise group, I'm going to add my first agent. So the operating system should be Docker, and I do accept the license agreement. I can ignore this one here because the Helm chart takes care about this. And I basically stop here because the activation code is needed also for the Helm chart. So the Helm chart I'm going to use is on this GitHub repository, and I clone this repository to my local machine. So let me clone that. And that gives me an additional directory, Workato OPA Helm chart, and I would like to have a quick look into that directory, especially into the values file, which is the default for the Helm chart. And obviously the idea is that you override certain settings in your local values file you maintain yourself. So the default replica count is 2. And the interesting thing here are the activation codes, because these are the codes on a per on-premise agent basis, and this is what I will demonstrate in the video, have to be maintained during the activation of the on-premise agent in your local values file, and I will show that to you. You can obviously configure your config YAML if you would like to have dedicated configuration locally. And the other interesting thing or important thing I would like to mention is volumes. So you see the default here is very basic. It is just using a host path, which is not meant for production. So when you deploy the on-premise agent using that Helm chart, then make sure that you're using a persistent volume based on your infrastructure, which you also call conf, because this persistent volume then contains the generated key and the generated certificate, which needs to be accessible to the on-premise agent whenever it is restarted and so on. So consider this one here just, let's say, as demo or development environment. So that's all I would like to show you here. And I have already created my local values file, which I called demo values. And here I have limited as an initial step the replica count to 1. That's why I have to provide only 1 for the first on-premise agent activation code. And this is now the activation code I take from the platform. When you took a little bit longer for the other steps, it's always a good idea to regenerate that activation code to have a fresh one. So in my case, that's absolutely fine to take it as it is and put it in here. A few words about this force parameter. I did these steps already multiple times, and that's why my volume already contains keys and certificates that don't match anymore to the on-premise agent now configured on the platform UI. And that's why I would like to have that the activation is overriding that existing keys. And that's why I set this parameter to true. In normal situations, this parameter should be always false. So that's all. And now I go to install that on-premise agent by using Helm install. Then the release name, this is my namespace, my local values file, and this is where the Helm chart has been cloned into that directory. And now I can check for the pods to see what happens. There's an init container. The init container takes care about the activation. So that means it's using now that activation code to fetch the on-premise agent key and certificate stored on that persistent volume. And then the real pod or the real container is really coming up, which then contains the on-premise agent now having access to that key and to that certificate to establish the communication with the Workato platform. So I can now go here next, test the agent, and the agent is now ready. And now it's very simple to add another agent, like a second agent. obviously Docker, accept the license agreement, next. And I take this activation code from over here. I go into my demo values file. I copy these lines. Now this is for the second on-premise agent. Replace this code with the new one. Perhaps already set this one here to false. It's not really necessary, but it's a good thing to do it right now. And then I can go and upgrade my current Helm revision to the new status. I forgot one thing, which is to increase the replica count to 2. So make another Helm upgrade. And now it's running through the init, so that means the on-premise agent is activated using that activation code we just provided in the demo values file. And once this is done, the on-premise agent is coming up. It's already done. So that means I can go next, test the agent. The agent is ready and can be used. So that's all I wanted to show you, how you can use Helm or a Helm chart to deploy the Workato on-premise agent on a Kubernetes environment. Thanks for watching.